All right, fifth grade. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a really good weekend. Today, what we're going to do is, since we finished our wholes, compare and contrast essays, we're going to move on to the next thing. Okay. Now, today I'm giving us just a few things we're going to do today, just some short notes. Because if you did not have time to finish your compare and contrast essay, today is the last day for you to do it. Okay. It's a big part of your grade. It's going to be a big part of your report card, your conferences, and I want to make sure that you have enough time to finish it. Okay. Today at 1 p.m., I am going to have a Google Meet to help anybody finish up their wholes, compare and contrast essays. Okay. Even if you're somebody who has hardly started, I will get you there to a point where you can be done and you can be proud of your work. Okay. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about point of view. Point of view is it might seem pretty easy and straightforward today, the first day when we talk about it, but throughout this week and a little bit of next week as well, we are going to do a little bit more work talking about all the different kinds of point of view and how to find it. Okay, so first, here's what point of view is. So what I have here is I have all of the slides that you have. What I want you to do is I want you to go through and I want you to copy exactly what I have. Okay, so point of view. Here is what the point of view is. Okay, the point of view is who is telling the story. Okay, that's it. Who is telling the story? Okay. Sometimes the person who is telling the story is actually in the story. They are a character in the story. Okay. Sometimes it's a narrator who is far away from the story. If you think about the book Holes, Stanley was the main character, but he was not the narrator. And so there was actually another person who was telling the story. We don't know who that person was. Okay, so here's kind of a nice little way of thinking about point of view. Here are the three different kinds of point of view. Their names are pretty easy. First person, second person, third person. Okay, this does not mean like one person, two people, and three people. That's not what that means. Okay, so first person means that the main character in a story, this guy here in the purple, he is the narrator, right? So he's saying, I am going to go to the movies. We are going to go see Spider-Man, right? That's the narrator of the story, is also inside of the story, okay? Second person is when... second person's a little trickier. We'll talk more about second person on Wednesday, but second person is when you are telling somebody about them being in the story. So you're saying you. Okay, that's kind of a tricky one. Like I said, we'll talk more about that on Wednesday. Third person is pretty simple, very similar to first person, except the author is outside of the story. They're just telling what's going on in the story. They're not in it. Okay, so the narrator is saying like he, she, it, they are going to the movies. They are going to go see Spider-Man. Okay, so first is first person point of view. Okay, first person point of view is when the narrator is telling the story and is in the story. Okay, so in first person, I would be telling all of you about my weekend. I went to a town and hiked. I spent some time outside. I saw some dogs. It's I, me, we. Those are the words that you're going to see in first person. Okay, here's a little example down here. I went to the store to get milk. That's in first person. I am the narrator. I am in the story. Okay, that's first person, pretty easy. Okay, second person. So second person is you. What we're going to see a lot in this point of view is the word you. And this is the story is being told from the perspective of you. Okay. Like I said, this one's a little trickier. We don't see this one really very often. It's kind of rare to see a second person point of view in 5th grade. As you get older, you will read more stories and books with second person. But like I said, here in 5th grade, we don't focus on it too much. So here's an example down here. The narrator might be saying, you are going to the store to get milk. Okay. All right, so that is second person. So you. That's going to be the giveaway. And then last today, third person point of view. This one is pretty easy. Stories being told from someone on the outside. Okay, so somebody who is not inside the story, a narrator who is watching all of the events, somebody who's not actually inside of the story. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of he, she, it, and they. And an example of a third person point of view story is saying that she went to the store to get milk. The person who's telling us this story, the narrator, they're not actually in the story. They're talking about this woman or this girl going to the store to get milk. Okay, we will do some practice with that this week. There's actually 2 different kinds of third person. We will talk about those starting next week. But this week what we're going to do is we're really going to try to understand what is point of view and how do we find it. Okay, so if you have any questions on anything today, if you have any questions on your essay from last week, you can ask during the meet. But also, at 1 p.m., like I said, we're going to wrap up those compare and contrast essays if you need any help. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions.